Good evening, everybody. Monday morning quarterback episode 28, live from Boone, Iowa. Super Nationals, IMCA Super Nationals. We're out here supporting our friends at Bob Harris Inn, big dealer for us in the dirt modified and stock car land, and that's what this event's all about. About 1,200 cars, I think they get across all the IMCA divisions. So a really big event for these guys. We'll show you a little bit here on Manufacturers Row, and then we'll go in the trailer and show you Bobby's setup here at the racetrack. So here today and tomorrow, and then heading back home to do the BC 39 at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway that we're really excited for. So howdy, Marcus. Congratulations to Marcus on a big win for CSI by MTR with Kevin Ramey taking the 305 Nationals at Eagle, beating over 100 cars. So that was a huge win for Marcus and Kevin, and we're super excited to be a part of that. We also swept the USAC sprint car races this weekend with Sunshine getting the win at Granite City, and then J-Mac getting his first national sprint car win at Peevely, and top four sweep there with McDougal, KT, Ballou, and Sunshine Force. So shook up the national points a little bit. KT jumped back to the lead by 1 point over Sunshine, so CSI 1-2 in the national points on the USAC side, and hoping to get a big win this week at the Motor Speedway. That would be super special. Motor Speedway has a really special place in my heart. As many of you know, I've done Indy 10, 11 times, and have a big love for the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. So, all right, I'm going to show you what's going on here at Boone, and then we'll go inside the trailer. So this is Manufacturers Row. It's kind of quiet. They started racing here late tonight because of all the weather. So most of the manufacturers have packed up and went up inside the track to watch the racing action going on tonight. So they skipped hot laps and went straight into racing. So this is our friends at Bob Harris's setup. They got a GRT car that they do some customization on and whatnot. It's all covered up for the night, but Bobby's in here working, doing some shock builds. So we'll show his setup. So he's got a nice shock trailer that they take to a bunch of events, and these are a bunch of the shocks that he's fixed. Some CSI shocks in here, and Bobby is working away. Say hi to everybody tuned in.
Hi everyone.
This is Bobby Harris. He's the head shock builder at BHE, and he's working on some modified shocks for a customer that's racing later in the week. So this is kind of his setup. He's got his tools and everything he needs, shim boxes, some new inventory, stuff that's in here for repair, his display that normally goes outside, shims and everything. So cool little setup here. I'm gonna take a seat on the bench in his trailer and answer any questions you guys have about the shock dyno graph discussion last week. We will jump back into that next week. I'll be back home in the shop on Monday and got some cool things planned for you guys as far as showing you different shocks of actually being dynoed, and how the curves change drastically, and why it's so important to know the real numbers and not just the traditional valving numbers. So thank you to everybody who shared the video last week. Super awesome. I promise the $500 drawing wasn't rigged. Trevor really did pull Casey Bishop's name out. Maybe you can sweet talk Casey and he'll give that $500 coupon to you to use. So continue sharing, share away. We'll give away some more stuff, and we got some cool things in the works later this year. So Blake, you are correct. I posted some videos on our Instagram story, and it is a muddy mess here. So I'm only here today and tomorrow, and then headed back to Indiana, where we have our fingers crossed for dry weather at the Motor Speedway. So how's it going, Kevin? All right, so those of you that are tuned in, questions regarding the shock dyno graphs we talked about last week, or any questions regarding your race team and what you might have encountered this past weekend or at some point this season. We didn't pick a topic tonight because I knew it was going to be a more challenging episode to do being out here. I'm glad that the video is streaming. I was getting concerned that we weren't going to have enough cell signal. Boone, Iowa isn't the largest town in America, and there's a lot of people here for this event. So we brought Tyler Herget with us, who's doing some video stuff for us in BHE, and he'll have some cool drone footage. You can see exactly how many people are here racing, camping, watching, etc. And as Blake mentioned, they got hammered with rain today, and it's a wonder that they're actually racing. So anybody that's tuned in, do you have questions about the dyno graphs again, or something you want explained in more detail when we jump back onto that topic next week? Because we will certainly dive back into the dyno graphs. We'll do a little refresher on what we covered, and then as I mentioned last week, we're going to get a little bit deeper into that, so you guys can learn everything you need to learn as far as that's concerned. So any questions from anybody? Nobody has questions this evening. They just all tuned in to see a empty vendor row and watch Bobby build some shocks. No questions? Anyone? Alright, so apparently when I pick a topic, things go a lot better and we have a lot more to talk about. Steve Fox is tuned in. They had another good run with Kevin Thomas at the controls yesterday, picking up a second at DeCoin. So cool for him and his family that have been in the sport a long time. No questions. All right. Well, we thank you guys for tuning in. I'm sorry it wasn't more informative this week. I promise an action-packed show next week with lots of information regarding how to read your dyno sheets and all the pertinent information with that. We will give Tyler some love. He's been out shooting footage. This is the kind of mud.
It's really muddy out tonight.
It's kind of mud we're dealing with here.
It's unreal.
And
my shoes were about to come off in the infield tonight. It was, and I
So-
about fell like 3 or 4 times. It was just all around really awkward.
So
tonight.
Tyler has some sweet Damon John FUBUs that he specifically wears for the racetrack. So Damon would be proud. All you Shark Tank fans would be super proud of what Tyler is wearing. Okay, so now some questions. Marcus is doing his drawing tomorrow. I spoke up and said I would throw in a sweatshirt and hoodie for that drawing. So Marcus, if you're gonna draw a couple names, don't forget, we'll give a sweatshirt and a hoodie. Just tell me where to send them. Kevin talked about 3-inch readings on a dyno with heavier cars, 6-inch readings. So yeah, most of the modified guys I think talking a 6-inch reading. We can go over and ask the man about that. Bobby, what numbers do most of your customers talk in?
We like to look at the 1-inch number and 3, 6, and 10.
So that's what you look at as a shock builder, but the customers that aren't as up to speed with all those numbers, do they talk a specific, like, hey, I want my shock to be 150 pounds and that's a 6-inch number or a 3-inch?
We still use the standard valving like a 3/8 or whatever. We feel like there's so much for the racer to deal with on the car. We try to simplify it as much as possible to them, and we focus on getting that shock built right.
Hobby racers and some lower level stuff here with the street stocks and hobby stocks and factory stocks. Don't listen to Bobby. Learn the numbers. Learn the numbers. You can never have too much information when it comes to your race car. And he said that they go the traditional numbers to keep it simple for their customers. We're going to keep it simple for you by teaching you how to read your dyno sheets, easily identify it, know what the real numbers are, and be very comfortable talking shocks with whoever your shock tuner is. So we're going to teach you that. In the next couple weeks, you're going to know how to read all that stuff and feel comfortable with that. So thank you guys for tuning in. We certainly appreciate it. Next week, we're back into class with an in-depth on shock dyno sheet reading. And we hope you all have a fantastic week. Hope you guys had the day off today and enjoyed an extended weekend with your family.